Welcome to the video guide for Ciella's Wrath, Legend, a new Agato Uprising boss fight difficulty released as part of patch 2.6 of Dragalia Lost. The third of the Legend difficulty Agato fights to be released, Legend Ciella matches their tempo. Expect to have to bring your best to a punishing fight. My name is Xenozillus, and let's get straight to it. Much like the rest of the Legend fights, Legend Ciella again follows the structure of the Expert fight more closely than Master, but also introduces a handful of new mechanics. We'll go over these and how to handle them. Following the established pattern, Ciella maintains her Veil and Vulnerability mechanics and gains a Berserk phase. As with all Agato fights, certain mechanics and attacks will be skipped or repeated based on phase progression and remaining hit points. Phase 1 opens with Ciella leading with a purple charge and bolts from above. These are now purple, so dodge them as appropriate. After this, Ciella introduces Tides of Despair. This mechanic has three potential non-telegraphed patterns: donuts, bombs, and pie slices. If there's a water spout, you'll be targeted with a small donut, stack or separate, and then don't move. If there's an icicle, you'll be targeted with a bomb. Stack, then separate after it stops tracking, after about a second or so. If there's fog, there will be a series of 4 AoEs, with the safe zones in the 3, 6, 9, then 12 o'clock positions. In co-op, the donuts and the bombs will target all players, so be sure to stack or split appropriately. Following a dash, Ciella claps. Claps now have a chance to freeze, so bring a freeze resist character or two to ensure you can free frozen teammates. After this, Ciella activates Mist Veil. This now spawns the Raptorads from Master, which gain shields, and Ciella no longer slowly walks to her final location, instead teleporting. Locate her as normal to get into the safe spot behind her and handle the Raptors when convenient, noting their strength debuffs. This will be followed by a new mechanic, spawning bubbles around the room. These require 15 hits each to break in solo or 70 in co-op. Clear these when you can. Leave these for too long and they'll detonate, which is bad news. These aren't too difficult to clear using bows or wands, Gala Knot, or even high hit count AoEs such as Midgard's or Maziro's Dragon Skill. Another noteworthy mechanic in the first phase is Rain of Despair. Ciella will spawn a series of bubbles around the perimeter of the arena. After a short delay, their purple telegraphs will shoot fast-moving bullets. Steer clear. After this, you'll see the new crystal arrows. Instead of targeting each player, Ciella scatters arrows around the whole arena. These have less hit points than they usually do, but of course you'll need to handle more arrows. Clear these with large AoEs if possible, as this is followed by Ciella's Frigid Beam. And that's the bulk of the new mechanics you'll see in Phase 1. As always, once you clear the first form, we enter Phase 2. Ciella opens Phase 2 by applying Karmic Shield. This now applies 3 buffs of 5% defense, requiring multiple dispels to counter. This is followed by some familiar mechanics until you push her past 95% hit points, after which you'll start a unique combo. Ciella will drop a Cryogenic Meteor as well as spawning an Aqua Slime. Leave this slime alive until after rebounding arrows and 4 waves from Floor of Despair, as it's required to spawn a Pot of Miracles ad. Killing the Pot of Miracles will grant a hefty defense buff, which is required to survive a lethal attack that comes after a clap, shield, and straight shot. If the Aqua Slime is killed too early, the run is going to fail. Cryogenic Meteor and Floor of Despair are also slightly changed. Cryogenic Meteor now drops a single meteor in a random location. While it's not an issue in co-op, you'll find some frustration in getting your AI to disengage and hide behind the meteor in solo if you don't have a melee unit to swap to. It's not entirely impossible, but expect some RNG in clearing Floor of Despair in solo if you bring a completely ranged team. In this regard, Mona counts as ranged due to his Force Strike. After some typical Phase 2 Ciella mechanics, you'll encounter the triple Tides of Despair. You'll see the Water Spout, Icicle, and Fog together. These will occur in the order they disappear, so pay close attention. After this small puzzle, you'll have the typical Phase 2 Ciella experience. Legend Ciella's Phase 2 mechanics are nothing you haven't seen before and are all largely reactable. There's no huge change when you push Ciella to Berserk either. Berserk phase is handled much like other Berserk phases in Legend Agato. Telegraphs disappear, Ciella hits much harder, and she also has the defense buffs and increased Overdrive Force Strike vulnerability. I found Ciella's strength gain in Berserk to be less brutal compared to Vulcan Cayenne, but your mileage may vary. Force Strike her Overdrive bar to take advantage of Berserk's extra Force Strike vulnerability, and also note that Berserk Ciella is somehow still vulnerable to Stormlash. Force Strike, break, do your burst damage, and rinse and repeat. After a few breaks, you'll get your clear. The main pain points are the Tides of Despair mechanics. Be sure to learn how to handle all three mechanics, the most troublesome being the type movement required to smoothly handle the Room-wide Fog AoEs. Another pain point I found is the Aqua Slime mechanic in Phase 2. Ensuring a mob stays alive in solo can be tricky, and you'll also need to win some dice rolls in co-op and hope your teammates know to leave it alive. Team compositions are somewhat flexible, but popular DPS choices include Gala Ranzel, Gala Not, and Valentine's Chelsea, the latter two able to handle the copious amounts of dispel needed to control Ciella's defense ramping. Dragonule Xanthrid is also a popular pick in solo as a source of Dragon Gauge, useful to provide midcard's almost zero skill on demand to clear bubbles and crystal arrows. As always, Lowen is a popular healer choice, but Templar Hope is also possible to run in co-op if you've got a more capable team and you're opting for faster clears. Poison-reliant characters are less popular due to Ciella's high initial resistance of 85%, but it's not entirely impossible if you run anyone that has a poison resistance debuff. Keep an eye out for clear videos posted for more ideas. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment or pop by my Twitch streams. I stream Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9:30 PM GMT. As always, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.